Robert Redford was born Charles Robert Redford Jr. on August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California, and grew up in a modest, hard-working household during the lingering years of the Great Depression. His father worked long hours to support the family while his mother encouraged imagination and artistic curiosity, two influences that quietly shaped the direction of his life. As a child, Redford was not immediately drawn to acting. Instead, he found comfort in drawing, painting, and observing the world around him. Those early interests helped him develop a reflective personality and a sensitivity that later became visible in his performances. He often described his youth as a period of searching rather than certainty, filled with small mistakes and meaningful lessons. This blend of discipline at home and creative freedom planted the seeds for the thoughtful, introspective artist he would eventually become. Education, travel, and self-discovery. Redford's journey toward the arts was far from direct. He attended the University of Colorado on a baseball scholarship, but academic life did not hold his attention for long. Like many young people trying to define themselves, he struggled with focus and direction, eventually leaving school and deciding to travel abroad. His time in Europe proved transformative. Living on limited funds, sketching city streets and absorbing museums and architecture opened his mind to culture in a deeply personal way. He later reflected that these wandering years taught him independence and humility more than any classroom could. When he returned to the United States, he carried a clearer sense of purpose and an appreciation for storytelling as a universal language. That realization pushed him toward formal acting training, marking the true beginning of his professional path. Stage beginnings and breakthrough opportunities. After enrolling at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, Redford quickly stood out for his calm presence and natural sincerity. The stage became his training ground where discipline and repetition honed his craft. Early Broadway roles allowed him to experiment with emotion and timing while learning the demands of live performance. Audiences responded to his quiet intensity and genuine charm, qualities that translated well to film when Hollywood took notice. His transition from theatre to cinema felt almost seamless, not because it was easy, but because he approached each opportunity with preparation and respect for the material. By the mid-1960s, he began landing roles that hinted at his star potential, and within a few years he would become one of the most recognizable leading men of his generation. Rise to stardom in film the late 1960s and 1970s marked Redford's ascent into international fame. Films such as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting showcased his ability to balance charisma with subtle vulnerability, creating characters that felt both heroic and relatable. He was not merely a handsome face on screen, he brought intelligence and restraint that allowed audiences to connect with deeper emotional layers. Working alongside respected actors and visionary directors strengthened his reputation as a dependable and thoughtful collaborator. These performances established him as a defining figure of American cinema, someone who could carry both commercial hits and critically admired projects. During this period, Redford became known for choosing roles that reflected moral questions and human complexity, a pattern that would continue throughout his long career. Expanding into directing and producing. While many actors remained focused solely on performance, Redford gradually shifted his attention behind the camera. His directorial debut, Ordinary People, revealed a different side of his artistic vision, quiet, patient, and deeply human. The film's success proved he possessed not only screen presence, but also storytelling leadership. Directing allowed him to explore themes of family, communication, and emotional honesty with greater control and nuance. He approached filmmaking as a collaborative craft, encouraging actors to bring authenticity rather than spectacle. Over time, his projects reflected a preference for meaningful narratives over flashy trends. This evolution broadened his influence in Hollywood and demonstrated that his talents extended well beyond acting. It also earned him respect among peers who admired his willingness to take creative risks. Champion of independent cinema. Perhaps one of Redford's most lasting contributions lies in his support of independent filmmaking. By founding the Sundance Institute and later helping the Sundance Film Festival grow into a global platform, he provided opportunities for emerging voices who might otherwise have gone unheard. His motivation was not fame or profit, but a belief that cinema should reflect diverse perspectives and fresh ideas. Sundance became synonymous with creative freedom, launching the careers of countless directors, writers, and actors. Redford's commitment to nurturing new talent reshaped the industry by proving that smaller, personal stories could achieve cultural impact. Through this work, he shifted from being simply a star to becoming a mentor and visionary, ensuring that his legacy would be measured not only by his performances, but also by the opportunities he created for others. Personal life and family foundations. Away from cameras and film sets, Redford valued privacy and family life. His first marriage to historian and activist Lola Van Wagenen began when he was still building his career, and together they raised 4 children. Their relationship reflected shared values of education, environmental awareness, and social responsibility, even as the pressures of fame gradually introduced challenges. Despite eventual separation, mutual respect and appreciation for their shared years remained evident. Later in life, Redford found companionship with artist Sibylle Szaggars, whose creative and environmental interests aligned closely with his own. Their partnership represented a quieter, more reflective chapter centered on art, nature, and personal balance. Throughout his life, family connections and close relationships grounded him, offering stability amid the unpredictable rhythms of the entertainment world. Public image and inner complexity. Redford's public persona often conveyed calm confidence and measured dignity. Yet, like many artists, he carried private reflections and emotional depth that did not always appear in interviews or photographs. Colleagues frequently described him as thoughtful, disciplined, and quietly humorous, someone who preferred listening to speaking. His performances sometimes drew strength from this introspective quality, allowing characters to express emotion through subtle gestures rather than dramatic displays. While media narratives occasionally speculated about hidden struggles or sensational secrets, those stories rarely captured the full picture of a man who valued discretion and authenticity. What consistently emerged from those who worked closely with him was respect for his professionalism and empathy. The contrast between public admiration and personal humility contributed to the enduring fascination surrounding his life and career. Environmental advocacy and social commitment. Beyond film, Redford devoted considerable energy to environmental advocacy and social causes. He believed that public influence carried responsibility, and he used his visibility to raise awareness about conservation, land preservation, and sustainable living long before such conversations became mainstream. Living in Utah's mountain landscapes deepened his connection to nature and informed many of his public efforts. He often spoke about the importance of protecting natural beauty for future generations, framing environmentalism not as politics but as stewardship. This dedication resonated with admirers who saw him as more than an entertainer. His activism demonstrated consistency between personal values and public action, reinforcing the perception that his career was guided by conscience as much as ambition. In many ways, this commitment expanded his legacy beyond cinema into cultural and environmental leadership. Legacy and continuing influence. Robert Redford's legacy rests on a rare combination of artistic excellence, mentorship, and principled living. Spanning decades of film, directing achievements, and institutional contributions, his career illustrates how creativity can evolve while remaining authentic. Even as he gradually stepped back from acting, his influence continued through the filmmakers he inspired and the stories he helped bring to life. Discussions about his life sometimes drift into rumor or exaggerated narratives, yet the most reliable portrait remains one of dedication, curiosity, and integrity. He is widely regarded as a figure who balanced fame with purpose, choosing projects and causes that aligned with personal conviction. Whether remembered for iconic film roles, the nurturing of independent cinema, or his environmental voice, Redford's enduring impact lies in the authenticity with which he approached both art and life.